the taking of the lulav on the first day of the holiday. If the first day of the holiday comes out on Shabbat, right? We know our custom is that we do not take the lulav on Shabbat. We don't take the lulav etrog on Shabbat. But the Gemara said that at the time of the Beit HaMikdash, if the first day of Sukkot comes down on Shabbat, they would take the lulav on Shabbat. And the reason why we don't take the lulav on Shabbat, in general, is because the rabbis wanted to protect us. They wanted that we shouldn't come to forget to carry the lulav and carry the etrog on Shabbat. And if you would take the lulav in general on Shabbat, you might come to forget and go to the rabbi to teach you how to say the bracha on the lulav. You might go to the rabbi to teach you how to wave the lulav properly. And as concern for that, that's the reason why the Gemara says we do not. By the way, the coffee has arrived. That's the reason why we. That's the reason why we don't take the lulav on Shabbat. In order to protect the people, they shouldn't come to carry. But the Gemara said that at the time of the Beit HaMikdash, they did not put that fence around the first day if it came out of Shabbat. It's a siyag, exactly. It's siyag. It's the fence. The rabbis are instructed to create mishmeret and mishmarati, to create a guardian to protect the Torah. And that's the job of the rabbis. That's why the idea of mukseh on Shabbat, right? I can't handle everything on Shabbat. If I'm going to be moving around my pen, I might come to write with my pen. I might come to, if I be moving around my phone, I might come to use my phone on Shabbat. So the rabbis created certain fences to protect us. That's the job of the rabbis. So the rabbi said, don't take the lulav on Shabbat as a fence. But that fence was not created, the Gemara says, when the first day comes down on Shabbat. The Gemara says it's a difference. The time of the Beit HaMikdash, we recommend everybody to say the bracha as a merit for the Jewish people in Israel. It should be a big merit. We need a lot of help, the Jews all over the world. And the Gemara said, we know there is a difference on a Torah level between the first day of Sukkot and the rest of Sukkot when it comes to lulav. When it comes to lulav, everybody, every Jew, wherever you live in the world, is obligated lulav on a Torah level on the first day of the holiday. In the Beit, but if you buy the Beit HaMikdash, you have a mitzvah set. You have the mitzvah of 7 days by the Beit HaMikdash. If you're outside the Beit HaMikdash, there's only a mitzvah for 1 day to take the lulav. And the reason why we here in America take the lulav, or Jews all around the world take the lulav today for 7 days, is day 2 to day 7 is to remember what they did in the Mikdash. It's like we have something we have by Haggadah, Zechel Mikdash Ki Hillel, how Hillel used to do the Morah, right? So we have something called Zechel Mikdash. We take the lulav and their throw from day 2 to day 7, Zechel Mikdash. Even the Morah that we do today, the rabbi obligated to take Morah today. The obligation of Morah is only when you had a Korban Pesach. That was the biblical obligation, the Torah level. The Rabbanan said that we should go ahead and what? Take Morah today. Correct? And make a bracha on taking the Morah, because it's a rabbinic mitzvah, good morning, that the rabbi said that we're supposed to go ahead and do. So the Gemara said in the time of the Beit HaMikdash, being that taking the lulav on the first day was min haTorah all over the world, the rabbis did not want to make a fence on the first day of Sukkot if the first day came out on Shabbat. And they said, take the lulav, but you got to be very careful. Either they said, you would bring the lulav before Shabbat. If you were by the Beit HaMikdash, you would bring it to the Har HaBayit, the Temple Mount, before Shabbat. Or if you weren't there, you would bring it to your shul, Beit HaKnesset, before Shabbat. But you can't carry lulav on Shabbat. That's what the Gemara said. So then the Gemara has a question. Okay, you told me in the time of the Beit HaMikdash, we would take the lulav even on Shabbat if the first day came on Shabbat. So what about in our times? The Gemara says, the time of the Gemara when the Beit Hamikdash was destroyed. Why is it? But still, the biblical mitzvah, the first day applies all over the world. Take the lulav even on Shabbat. So why don't we take the lulav on Shabbat? So the Gemara said that outside of Israel, as you know, they didn't know for sure when the holiday is. Is today the holiday? Tomorrow's the holiday. When did they sanctify the month? Every month has either 29 days or 30 days. If a month has 29 days, so then the Yom Tov would come. The Yom Tov of Sukkot is on the 15th day of the month of Tishrei. So if the month has 29 days, 15 days later is Sukkot. If the month is a 30-day month, it's called the Mu'ubah, a pregnant month. It's the full month. So then then the holiday starts a day later. So in Israel, where they sanctified where that was the place where the Sanhedrin, the court, sanctified the moon. So over there, they knew by the time 15 days later, when Sukkot came, they knew when was Sukkot, when did the holiday begin. Outside of Israel, they didn't know. Therefore, they play it safe. They would keep 2 days of the holiday. They would keep. That's why we have today 2 days of a holiday. They kept, they would count 15 days after the 29th of the month, and they would keep, the 15th and then the 16th day as holiday. Lack of receiving the communication. They would send out messages, but not all the messages to travel from Israel. And remember, they weren't traveling on Yom Kippur. They weren't traveling on Shabbat. So it took a little time. So the Gemara said, Anan, okay. So the Gemara said, but what about them, the people in Israel, the Jewish people who lived in Israel? Inu diyadi b'kviyah diyarcha. Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Rabbi.
Morning. So the Gemara said the people in Israel who knew when they sanctified the new moon and knew when the holiday of Sukkot comes out. So the Gemara's question is, why inhu diyadi b'kviyah diyarcha litchu? They in Israel, the Gemara says they should go ahead. Good morning, Mr. Haber. You don't mind, Mr. Haber, if I can just hold it for a second? Thank you very much. So the Gemara said, the Jewish people in Israel, why don't they take the lulav on Shabbat? If the first day comes out on Shabbat, why don't they take the lulav? That's the Gemara's question. Welcome. So the people in Bavel, who the Gemara here, there and there in Babylon, and they're discussing the issue, and they're saying, our brothers and sisters, because the obligation is on men, take the lulav. Our brothers, why don't they take in Israel? Why don't they take the lulav on the first day of the holiday? Because even when it comes down on Shabbat, because we said that since it's a biblical mitzvah throughout the world when the first day comes down on Shabbat, so therefore we said the rabbi did not make a fence in the time of the Beit HaMikdash. They said that everybody would take the lulav on Shabbat, and like we said before, so people would bring their lulav to the synagogue, or people would bring it to the Har HaBayit before Shabbat. So now today the Gemara is saying when the Beit HaMikdash is not around, but in Israel they know when the holiday, when the Yom Tov is. So why don't they take the lulav on the first day of the holiday, even when it comes out on Shabbat? That was the Gemara's question. And the Gemara says, you know what? They do. The Gemara says, this opinion of the Gemara says, Einachanami, that it is, you know what? They're supposed to take it, the people in Israel are supposed to take the lulav on Shabbat when the first day comes out on Shabbat. And the Gemara is going to show why, try to back this idea up. Tosfos points out that it's not going to be the conclusion in the Gemara, but the Gemara is going to say later on, since we don't take it, the people outside of Israel don't take the lulav when the first day comes out on Shabbat. In Israel also, they don't take the lulav. We don't make. We want to make it like one Torah. We'll see in the Gemara later on that the Gemara is going to say nobody takes lulav when the first day comes down on Shabbat. Even the people in the Holy Land do not take the lulav. Today, people in Israel do not take the lulav on the first day of the holiday of Sukkot, when the holiday comes down on what? On Shabbat. But there's an opinion in the Gemara that says that the people in Israel should take the lulav when the first day comes down on Shabbat, because when the first day comes down on Shabbat, then the mitzvah is for the whole world on a Torah level when the first day comes down on Shabbat. And the Gemara says, how does the Gemara illustrate this? Is it clear, by the way? Is everything clear so far? So the Gemara illustrates this by saying the following: the Tani Chada. We learned in one Mishnah, we're on 43a2 on the left side. The Yom Tov Harisha Shachad, on the first day of the Chag, Shechaliot b'Shabbat, that came out on Shabbat. Everybody would bring their lulav before Shabbat, Mr. Haver. They would bring their lulav before Shabbat to the Temple Mount, to the Harabayit near the Beit HaMikdash. And we have a different Mishnah that says the Beit HaKnesset. Where did they bring their lulav? To the shul. So why aren't they bringing the lulav to the Harabayit? What happened that the Mishnah changed tunes? At one time, the Mishnah stated they brought the lulav to the Temple Mount by the Beit HaMikdash, and one Mishnah said they brought the lulav to the synagogue. So the Gemara wants to suggest, because you know what? When did they bring to the Temple Mount? When the Beit HaMikdash was around? When there was a Beit HaMikdash, then they had to bring it over there by the Beit HaMikdash and the mitzvah. But when Bisman she'ein Beit HaMikdash kayam, when there's no Beit HaMikdash, so the people in Israel, what did they do? They brought it to the synagogue. So we see that even on Shabbat, if the first day of Sukkot comes down on Shabbat, you're supposed to go ahead and do the mitzvah of lulav on Shabbat. That's what the Gemara says. Shma mina. So that's what the Gemara says. That's the conclusion at this point of the Gemara. So the conclusion of the Gemara at this point is that the people in Israel would take the lulav on Shabbat if the first day comes out on Shabbat. So now the Gemara continues. We made a statement. We made a statement that the mitzvah of lulav is min Torah, or even outside of the Beit HaMikdash, outside of Israel. It's min Torah wherever we are in the world, the first day of the holiday. What is the source for that law? Where do we see that the mitzvah applies all over the world? In Alaska, the first day of Sukkot, to take the lulav. So the Gemara says, the Tanya. We learned in a Braita. Ulakachtem. The Torah says about the lulav, you're supposed to, in a plural language. Ulakachtem, you're supposed to take the lulav. So, but the fact that it doesn't say ulakachta, you shall take in the singular. If you will say in the singular, maybe the court has a mitzvah. The Bezdin has the mitzvah to take the lulav. But it says, L'kachtem, that you shall take the lulav, teaches us shetehei l'kicha biyad kolecha ve'echad. The Torah is instructing, like when it comes to Sfira to Omer, it says, Svartem lachem. Svartem is a plural. It doesn't say v'safarta, you should count Sfira to Omer. It doesn't say like, it's not like a mitzvah on the Bezdin. There's certain things that's a mitzvah on the court, right? The court sanctifies the new month. We don't sanctify the new month, the court. There's certain things that the court blows the shofar for, let's say, I would think by Yovel on Yom Kippur. There's certain things that are mitzvah in the court. But here, this mitzvah of taking the lulav is on every person. L'kachtem. Lachem, now every word of the pasuk is very important. No, there's no extra word, no extra letter. It says lachem. Lachem means yours, that has to belong to you. To you. Something that belongs to you. In order for you to fill the mitzvah of lulav on the first day, you have to own the lulav. You can't borrow a lulav from somebody. We said if you don't have your own lulav, they could gift it to you. They could gift it to you with the condition to give it back, but you have to own the lulav. Even the lulav and etrog of the shul, like in the old days in the Sephardic community, Mr. Abel, you told me How many lulavim were in the synagogue? How many lulavim were in the synagogue? Not too many. 2 lulavim. Who had them? The rabbi had one, and the shul had one. What were the two? I'm guessing. I'm just suggesting. Basically, the rabbi and the shul, right? So that was, but each person needed to own it. So the way their intention was that every time a person would pick it up, at that moment it belonged to him. It's gifted to him. You can't even own it as partners. You can't partner up with a lulav. You have to be the sole 100% ownership in the lulav. So everybody has to have his own lulav. It has to own it. That's again. Sorry, lachem teach mishalachem. Lachem says it has to belong to you. Lahotzi, it comes to exclude es a sha'ol, or es a gazul, something that's borrowed, or something that's stolen. You will not fulfill your mitzvah with someone else's lulav. You borrowed someone's lulav, and you don't own it. You do not get credit for even though he gave it to you, he lent it to you. You had permission to borrow it, but you don't own it. You cannot fulfill the mitzvah the first day. But that's only a law for the first day, and outside of Israel, we're careful about that the second day of the Yom Tov as well. But the rest of the holiday, the Chol Hamoed, you don't need to doesn't have to belong to you. Now, Bayom, it says Lakachtem lachem Bayom harishon. It emphasizes the word Bayom. It could have said Lakachtem lachem Barishon. Could have said you take it for yourself on the first, which the first of the holiday. So by saying Bayom, it's telling us Afilu b'Shabbat. By telling us Bayom Harishon, it's teaching you whatever that day of the week is, whether it's a Sunday, Monday, even if it's Shabbat. You have the mitzvah of lulav is even by Shabbat. Afilu b'Shabbat. Rishon, the pasuk says Rishon, and it does not say where you take the lulav. It doesn't say you have to take it by the mikdash. It doesn't say lefnei Hashem. It says you take it the first day. It doesn't specify where you're taking it. So by being non-specific, being vague about the location, would seem to indicate the mitzvah of taking it is anywhere, whether you are at the Beit HaMikdash, whether you're not at the Beit HaMikdash. Rishon afilu b'gvulin, even outside the Beit HaMikdash. But then it says harishon. There's an extra hey. What's the hey? It says l'kach lachem barishon, b'yom rishon. What is it? B'yom harishon. Like the hey hayidiyah. What's the emphasis of b'yom harishon? What's the hey? Like you have in the Mishnah and Kedushin, ha'isha niknes. But here, with the language of the pasuk, what's the harishon? Harishon teaches you melamed she'ena doche ela biyom tov harishon bavad. It tells us harishon that this mitzvah of taking the lulav even b'Shabbat is only the first day of the holiday. Only Harishon, only the first day does it supersede the Shabbat, but the rest of the days of the holiday, the only time it's docher, the only time that you could take the lulav on Shabbat is the first day. But if the rest of the days of the holiday, do not take it on Shabbat. Meaning to say, let's say in the Beit HaMikdash, where there's a mitzvah to take the lulav for 7 days in the Beit HaMikdash, they do not take the lulav if it comes out on Shabbat during those, from day 2 to day 7. The only time they will take the lulav if it comes out on Shabbat, the day 1 comes out on Shabbat. That's what the Gemara says. Yes, he gets the special welcoming. And he was here before the class started also. How do you like that? He's in charge now, making sure that everybody. How do you like that? Maybe he didn't do that. Maybe it was just a guilty conscience. If you don't mind my comment, then Mark. 43A2. Well, now we just turned the page. Now we're 43A3. Okay. So now the Gemara now is going to explain, go and explain and elaborate on what we just said. Amamar on 43A3. Biyom, you told me that the pasuk teaches you biyom afilu b'Shabbat, that the mitzvah of lulav takes place even on Shabbat, right? The first day, from the first day of the holiday, if comes the Shabbat, you got to take it on Shabbat. What do we need a pasuk to teach me that you can take lulav on Shabbat? What malacha, what action am I doing that I need the Torah to tell me I could do it even on Shabbat? I'm moving the lulav. What kind of biblical possible desecration that you need to tell me I can take it on Shabbat? So we don't allow you to carry it on Shabbat. Meaning, even when we said you take lulav on Shabbat, means you bring it to the synagogue before Shabbat, or you bring it to the Beit HaMikdash before Shabbat. But we don't say you could carry the lulav on Shabbat. So what do you need a pasuk to tell me that you can pick up a lulav and shake it on Shabbat? What biblical issue? You want to tell me maybe there's a rabbinic concern, maybe a rabbinic issue of right? We don't take the Megillah. We won't take the Megillah. Right, yeah, but here the holiday itself is not even, holiday doesn't begin until Saturday night. Right. I mean, theoretically, if it would have come, right, but we don't take it on Shabbat. The rabbi said, don't take the Megillah on Shabbat because you might come to carry. But we're saying, but that's a rabbinic consent. We're saying we need a Torah. It's a Torah law. Right, if there's a Torah tells you, goes out of its way to tell you, I need to tell you, you could even take the lulav on Shabbat. Not carry, take it and shake it. Use it. What do I need a pasuk to tell me I could pick up a lulav on Shabbat? If the Torah tells you there's a law, tells you you take the lulav on the 15th of the month of Tishrei. You take the lulav. Do I need a pasuk to tell me that, you know what? If the 15th comes on a Shabbat, I could still do it. Why would I think I can't do it? What possible violation? When it comes to circumcision, when you're cutting, when you're making a wound, which is one of the malachot on Shabbat, I need a pasuk to tell me you do brit on Shabbat, right? We do brit on Shabbat. Why? How do we know? Because we have a special pasuk, an extra word in the pasuk that teaches us that we do violate the Shabbat. We have the mitzvah of brit supersedes the laws of Shabbat. We have laws that say that slaughtering a karban in the Beit HaMikdash supersedes the Shabbat. We don't slaughter. You're not allowed to slaughter an animal on Shabbat. It's one of the third malachot, taking a life, the Tilat Neshama. But you go ahead and you have a. But the Torah says you can eat. Teaches you that the mitzvah of the law of bringing a karban of the communal offerings of the karban, the tamid, you could do it even on Shabbat. But why do I need a pasuk? Do I need a pasuk to tell me I can pick up a lulav on Shabbat? What do I need a pasuk to tell me I can pick it up? If the pasuk would tell me I can carry it in the street, that would be yes. The Gemara is going to answer. This opinion of the Brisa holds that you can even cut the lulav from the tree on Shabbat. You can even tie it on Shabbat, and that's malacha. Tying, making a real knot, a permanent knot, is a malacha on Shabbat. Making cutting from a tree, tzirah, is one of the malachot of Shabbat. This opinion holds that the mitzvah of lulav is not only you can take the lulav on Shabbat, you could cut it from the tree. The preparation that's needed for the lulav could be done on Shabbat. Of course, we don't hold this way, but that's the opinion that says that you need the pasuk is teaching you even on Shabbat that you could prepare for it, cut it on Shabbat. You could do that on Shabbat. That's what this opinion holds. That's what the Gemara says. No, he's saying the Torah is telling you that of course you could use it on Shabbat, but the Torah is teaching you that you can even go on a Torah level. Right. It's telling all the preparations that are needed for it. That's this opinion. So that's what the Gemara is going to say right now. Omamar, you're on 43A3 on the left side. Omamar, biyom, you take it by day. Afilu b'Shabbat, even on Shabbat, you take the lulav. Michti, let us see, let's analyze the situation. Tiltul ba'almahu, you're just moving a lulav with indoors. So, istrich kral and mishri tiltul. Do I need a pasuk to allow me to handle a lulav? So the Gemara says, maybe you would have told me, maybe the lulav is not a utensil, maybe it should be rabbinically prohibited, but on a Torah level, there's no issue. The preparation for the lulav. Alibad haitana, like the opinion of the following Tana, the Tanya Motor Braita, lulav, the lulav, v'chol machshirav, and all the preparation that's needed for the lulav, which would mean cutting it from the tree and tying it, dochin et Shabbat. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer, that's Rabbi Eliezer's opinion that it could dochin et Shabbat. My time of Rabbi Eliezer. What's the reason Rabbi Eliezer? And by the way, this machloket reminds me of the machloket Rabbi Eliezer and Nachman when it comes to Brit Milah. There are many mitzvot, a certain amount of mitzvahs that supersede the Shabbat. And the question is it just the mitzvah itself that you're able to do, or even the preparations? Let's say, we'll give an example of Brit Milah. The mitzvah is the cutting. Do you say, could you carry the knife on Shabbat to the shul? So we don't carry the knife to Shabbat. We put it before Shabbat. But there's an opinion, Rabbi Eliezer, what do you say? Can't carry the baby, exactly. So there are opinions that say that even the preparation for the mitzvah could also be done before Shabbat, on Shabbat itself. So that's a major argument. Is when the mitzvah supersedes the Shabbat, is it only the mitzvah, or is it also the preparation for the mitzvah? So we see here that's the same argument over here. The Gemara says, "My time of Rabbi Eliezer." Now, what's the source for this? Bayom. It says you do it bayom. The extra bayom teaches you the day on the first day you do on that day. Do whatever you need to do. If you have to go ahead and cut the lulav, the job gotta get done. L'kachtem lachem bayom on the first day. That extra word bayom teaches you that you got to go ahead and make sure it's done on that day, whatever needs to be done. That's the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. But however, the Chacham say no. The extra word bayom is not teaching you that you could do it. You have to get the job done any way you got to do it. Bayom that you can do by day and not by night. That the mitzvah of lulav is only by day. We know that's the practice. We don't drink the lulav at night. There's no mitzvah of lulav at night. Bayom v'lo b'layla. So we need the pasuk to tell me. The pasuk tells us, if the pasuk would just say lakachtem lachem berishon, it would just say you take it on the first day, you would think the mitzvah is at night or by day. If you don't tell me, if you're not specific about the time of the mitzvah, if you tell me a date, the date would include, let's say it says Zachas Yom HaShabbat, remember the Shabbat. It doesn't tell you when do you have to remember the Shabbat. That means either at night, the mitzvah is at night, or day, the mitzvah of Kiddush. It's from remember the Shabbat. It didn't say remember the Shabbat by daytime. It doesn't say and then there is another pasuk. It says it does say Zachas Yom HaShabbat, but however they learn it out from, but the fact that Torah says, or let's say the Sfirat Omer, Sratem Lachem, you count the Sfirat. It didn't say by day you count and not by night. So therefore, the mitzvah is at night. So how do you know that the mitzvah is not by night? That the mitzvah of lulav is not by night? The mitzvah of Sukkah is by night. This way you get bayom. Exactly. And also it says by Brit Milah, bayom hashmini. Could be from that pasuk also, bayom hashmini. Don't say bishmini, the 8th day. It's bayom hashmini. It could be that the day. So sometimes the Torah emphasizes the day. Not always does the day exclude the night. That's what we're going to see. But sometimes the word day could exclude night. So that it might not. It might include the night. And that's what the Gemara is going to develop in a minute. But the Chacham understand that the Pasuk writes the word bayom over here to teach you to exclude the night. There's no mitzvah of lulav at night. Rabbi Eliezer, so the Gemara says, so how does Rabbi Eliezer know that? Meaning it's universal. Everyone, good morning, Michael. How does Rabbi Eliezer know that you don't take the lulav at night? He uses the word bayom for Shabbat that you could do whatever you need to do. You could cut it off the tree on Shabbat. So if you can't double dip. If you use that pasuk, the word bayom, to tell me that you can even cut it on Shabbat off the tree, we don't hold that way, but that's what he says. So where does he know it's only by day and not by night? You need an exclusion to exclude the day. So the Gemara says, because Nafkaleh, he has another pasuk. The pasuk says, when it comes to the Beit HaMikdash, so he learns it from the same pasuk but at the end of the pasuk talks about the Beit HaMikdash. And over there it says, "V'smachtem lifnei Hashem Elokechem shivat yomim." When you take the lulav by the Beit HaMikdash on a Torah level, the Torah, right, Michael, emphasizes 7 days. So just yomim v'lo leilot. The same way over there, the mitzvah of taking the lulav by the Beit HaMikdash is day and not night. So here in the earlier part of the pasuk, when it talks about outside the Beit HaMikdash, it also is by day and not by night. And therefore, I have the extra bayom or by the other place to teach me even the preparation for the lulav, the cutting off the tree is allowed even on Shabbat. That's the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer.
So what is
The Chachamim. So are you?
reverse? If he thinks 7 days per day, and what is
That's what that's what great. Morning, Ariel. So that's what the Gemara is going to ask now. If we have the extra yomim, shivat yomim by the Beit HaMikdash, and that should be able to teach you over here, so then we have an extra yom. Exactly Mark's question. So the Gemara, when you ask the Gemara's question, that means you're following the Gemara very well. So the Gemara says, Rabbanan, you got a compliment. You deserve the compliment. Come on. Rabbanan say, Im hatam. Rabbanan says, you know what? If I would be learning from that, if you want to learn from that place of Shivat Yomim that it says by the Beit HaMikdash, Hava Mina, from the word Yomim, they disagree. You can't learn from the end of the pasuk. The end of the pasuk says Shivat Yomim, 7 days you take the lulav by the Beit HaMikdash. Rabbi Eliezer says that Yomim excludes the night. Comes the rabbi say, no, I don't see the word Shivat Yomim excluding the night. You know why? Because I have the word Yomim somewhere else in the Torah. And when the Torah says by Sukkah, you sit in the Sukkah 7 days, Shivat Yomim, it means day and night. So don't tell me that you have a source to exclude the night from the word Shivat Yomim in that pasuk. Because Shivat Yomim, day and not night. No. The word Yomim the word Yomim, we found the precedent means night and day. So I would have said also, it's also night and day by the lulav, and therefore I need the bayom that exclude the night. That's what they're going to say. Even hatam havamina, I would have said, Michael, you got it? We're on 43A3. Even hatam, I would have said, havamina leilif yamim yamim sukkah. Learn yamim from Sukkah. Mal halan by Sukkah, the obligation of Sukkah is by yamim, afilu beleilot, even nighttime. Avkanami yamim, afilu beleilot. Okay. So that's why the Chacham say I need to have the special pasuk of bayom to kach tamachem bayom arishon, that the mitzvah of lulav is only by day and not by night. So the Gemara says, Sukkah guf manon. You made a statement. You told me that the mitzvah of Sukkah is by day and by night. How do you know that? You tell me, and we know that's practice. Where is the source that you have to sit in a Sukkah by day and by night? mean, it says Shivat Yamim, but Sukkot Teshvu Shivat Yamim. How do we know it means the night also? The Tanna Rabbana, the rabbis taught in the Braita. But Sukkot Teshvu Shivat Yamim. You dwell in a sukkah 7 days. Yamim afilu b'leilo, right? Yamim includes even the nighttime, like the erev vayivoke yom rishon. It's a night and day. That's the day. Yom hasheni, Yom Sheni. How do you know that it includes the Tanna Rabbanan? Yamim afilu b'leilo. Ata omer, you're telling me the word yamim afilu b'leilo. Yomim days include the night. A day has a night and a day. Or Yamim, maybe the word Yamim means day and not night. Yomim has two ways to interpret, right, Ralph? Yomim can mean day and not the day, which includes the night and the day. Yomim can be specifically daytime hours and not nighttime hours. So how do you know to turn this way over that way? So the Gemara says, Nemakat v'dinu. The Gemara says it's logical. It's logical. What's the logic? What it says Yamim. 1 second. Now the Gemara says again. Maybe it's day and not night. And the dinu. And you know what? I have a reason to suggest that it's day and not night. Why do I have a reason to suggest it's day and not night? Nemakan v'lula nema Yamim. When it comes to Sukkah, it says Yamim. V'nema b'lulav, when it comes to lulav, it also says Yamim. And we know malala by lulav, Yamim means day and not night. Yamim v'lulav. Afkan, also over here, Yamim v'lulav. Maybe when it comes to Sukkah, the word Yamim also means day and not night. If I compare Sukkah to lulav, it will not include the night. Or klach l'derozu, or I have a. Yeah, but the Gemara is going to give in here is that lulav is not at night. And at least when we're learning Sukkah from lulav, we're saying lulav is not at night. Oh, klach derechzu, go the other way. Nema kan yamim v'nema miluyim yamim. When it comes to the miluyim, when they had to stay, but when they were setting up the Beit HaMikdash, and there was the days of the inauguration, it says over there that Aaron and his children have to stay by the Beit HaMikdash. They had to stay there by day and night. Yamim means day and night. So for the same way over there, Yamim means day and night. Here also with Sukkah means day and night. And we'll see tomorrow which is the one that we pick. Okay, as we know, we picked that we do the Sukkah by day and by night. We compare it to the Miluyim, compare it to when they inaugurated the Mishkan, they had the Yamim over there means day and night. Okay, we'll see tomorrow.
This month, the 25th. The 25th they started. In other words, Moshe put it up.
When you say that, have a good day. Yes, the
Mishkan.
26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
Until the 1st.
Before the 25th, Michael. You gotta get
7 days. 7 days before.
Because right, because the eighth day was
Rosh Chodesh Nisan.
Rosh Chodesh Nisan, right? Good. Have a great day.
You too, Rabbi.
Yeah, I can take it up if you want to take it. I'll let you do the mitzvah too. I'll give you the. You can take. Thank you for joining me. You follow your Thank you. Mm-hmm.